And if you work really hard and you're a really diligent person, make sure that you do some play to balance your life out. Your period of mourning is over. I'm 60 years old, and everybody who works for me is younger than me, and they'll tell you, I'll work you up under the table.
Need motivation?
Watch your top 10 with Believe Nation.
What's up, Believe Nation? It's Evan. I believe in you, and this channel is designed to be a part of your daily success routine. So let's get your motivation to a 10 and get you believing in you. Grab a snack and chew on today's lessons from a man who went from dropping out of university so he could become a preacher to having to take a job at a Carbide factory just so he could survive, to founding a Potter's House church and becoming a best-selling author of multiple books. He's T.D. Jakes, and here's my take on his Top 10 Rules of Success Volume 3. Also, if you want to know what Bishop Jakes and others have to say about building unstoppable confidence, check out my 254 Confidence series, where every day for the next 254 days, I will send you a morning video for free to help you build your confidence. The link to join is in the description below.
To be anxious is to have anxiety about something that hadn't even happened yet. That's why I can't deal with people who cannot pick up the pace.
Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, be fruitful.
Very first command God says to Adam is to be fruitful. You can only be fruitful if you are seedful. Okay, so we're talking about the difference between fruit and seed. Identifying your seed is what causes you to be fruitful. The first revelation of seed should happen in your family. You should have parents who are looking at their kids looking for seeds. I'm going to give you my grandbaby story. You asked for it. You're going to get it. You're just going to get it. So we're in my church and it's dark and my grandbaby's in there and a bunch of friends are in there and we're taking pictures and I can't find the light. And, the lights are complicated and I can't figure out how to turn all this stuff on. And so we're trying to get some pictures. And so my grandbaby ran and she says, wait a minute, Paul, I'm going to get a flashlight. She went up under the pew where we have hidden flashlights, snatched down a flashlight and brought it over and said, now take the picture. And so I said to her, I said, baby, Kinsey, don't you want to be in the picture? She said, no, I don't want to be in the picture. I want to hold the light. That's the seed right there. That's the seed right there. So we came back to the house and I was getting ready to take a picture and I'm trying to keep up with you millennials, it's so hard. And I was trying to take a selfie and I got a timer, where you can back up, If you follow me on Instagram, you know this is true. And so I couldn't get my phone to sit up. And she went and got some books and propped it up. And I told my daughter, I said, put her in leadership classes, put her in management classes. She's a problem solver. That starts early. Her instinct in a situation is to solve the problem. She says, I don't want to be in the picture, I want to hold the light. Those are seeds. Okay. Directing that child toward an area where you can cultivate what God has planted down inside of them is important. It's very, very important. Mm-hmm. There are people in this room that have dormant seeds laying inside of them, that if they get in the right atmosphere, they're going to turn into things you have never seen before. They didn't always have the benefit of parents who could see it or had time to see it or knew how to see it. But even as adults, there are still seeds down in you that have not been touched yet. That's what happened to Elisha. He was fulfilling his parents' vision, plowing in the field. That boy wasn't no farmer. Just because you can run a plow doesn't mean you're a farmer. But sometimes we get stuck in what people expect. Right. And we never find out who we are because we're living somebody else's dream. And so there he is plowing in the field doing what his daddy wanted and going around and said, I guess this is all life has for me. And he's going around and around in circles. Like many people are listening to me right now. You go to work, go to church, go home. Go to work, go to church, go home. Go to work, go to church, go home. You're plowing around in circles until Elijah passed by him. And then he was exposed to the moment he was exposed to something greater, he dropped something lesser.
Rule number 2, push through.
When a person picks this book up, What are you wanting them to get from this?
I want them to understand that you are the architect of tomorrow. I based it on the Wright brothers, who had the audacity to believe that they could build something that would take them from the ground to the air. And so they built this without a degree, without having financiers.
Oh, you don't need an education to make it? Oh, yeah.
They didn't let any of the things that normally stop us. I don't have the money, I don't have the capital, I don't have the manufacturing. In fact, they built the first plane in a bicycle shop. Wow. The other thing that I think is important to mention, the gravitational pull that the Wright brothers had to break through is a law that whatever goes up must come down. Isaac Newton was absolutely right. But they found a higher law. By pushing the limits on the lower law, they found the law of aerodynamics. Most entrepreneurs, when you start building something, or you're trying to build a marriage, or you're trying to build a child, there is a gravitational pull that says you don't belong up here, come down to where you belong.
Wow.
But if you keep pushing against what's pulling you back, you'll break into another law.
Yeah.
Rule number 3, persevere.
God wants you to be excited about your destiny so that you can endure the process that brings you into promise. Because there is a process before promise. And if you don't have at least a vision of the promise, the process will discourage you. But every time discouragement is trying to get you to give up the process, remember the vision you have of the promise and keep on walking around the wall. Keep on walking around. I'm tired, Lord, but I'm gonna walk around this wall. I'm frustrated, Lord, but I'm gonna walk around this wall. I'm lonely, Lord, but I'm gonna walk around this wall. Ministry's not growing, but I'm gonna walk around this wall. Thought I'd be married by now, but I'm gonna walk around this wall. Lost the first house, applying for the second house, but I'm gonna walk around this wall. Credit's all jacked, Lord, but I'm gonna walk around this wall. I'm trusting you when I can't trace you. I'm gonna walk around this wall. And Lord, I am crazy enough to stand in front of a solid wall and shout as if it had already come down. Let's try that one time. Let's shout as if the walls had already come down.
Rule number 4, be authentic to your core.
I never knew that the way people described you would become a prison until they did it. When I met me, I was not a preacher. So I didn't know that they would incarcerate me with the title. You are at your best when you are authentic to your core. And you have to be what you are, not what they call you. Sometimes, you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes people will call you a name and you start living up to the name and it limits you from what else God wants to do in your life.
Rule number 5, balance work with play.
The fifth thing that I really ascribe to is balance work with play. You can't do all of either one and be successful. And to those whom much is given, much is required. And if you work really hard and you're a really diligent person, make sure that you do some play to balance your life out. If you play real hard but you don't work very much, you're gonna be fun, but you're gonna be hungry. You know what I'm saying? You gotta balance work with play. You have to balance that with your children. If you're always a disciplinarian, your daddy gonna get you when you get home. I don't wanna always be the police in the house.
Yeah.
I wanna be the fun guy sometimes. Balancing work with play call this not only for you to be holistic, but for people to get a better perspective of who you are. I get on my Instagram and I put crazy stuff. My kids die. Just yesterday, I put me sweating in the gym saying they said it's going to be fun, but it hadn't gotten fun yet. You know, to let people know that everything is not serious every day. That's too much pressure. We've got way too much pressure on us to be the people we were created to be.
Rule number 6, fight.
Listen clearly. I want to pronounce a benediction on every grieving, weeping, depressed, lonely, frustrated, tired spirit. Your period of mourning is over. To touch your girlfriend, your sister girl, your cousin, or me-maw and tell her I cried my last tear yesterday. Yesterday. I cried my last tear 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 yesterday. You can send them flowers back. You can give that sympathy card back. You can stop looking at me all pitiful. You can stop seeing me as charity. I got my strength back. I got my fight back. I got my drive back. I got my focus back. Glory to God. I'm forgetting those things which are behind and reaching to those things which are before. I got some press down in me. Yeah, shake your sister girl, say I got some press in me. That's how I got in here tonight. I got some press down in me. That's why I'm watching on television. I got some press down in me. I got some fight in me. If you don't believe I got some press in me, look back in my history and ask the folk who fought me. Ask the people who said I would never make it. I got some press in me. I made it without them. I made it in spite of them.
Rule number 7, have a great work ethic.
I've seen people who are on their grind. I've seen Steve Harvey's on his grind. I've seen people on their grind. What on the grind really is a work ethic that would blow your mind. It would blow your mind. I'm 60 years old, and everybody who works for me is younger than me, and they'll tell you, I'll work you up under the table. I'll work you up under the table.
Where does that come from?
My father. My father, absolutely. My father is rigged. Let me tell you, this chair is about to break. My father's sitting here and my mother is sitting here and they're fighting for the mic from moment to moment. My grandmother talks to you every now and then. All of my ancestors are sitting on this table all the way back to Nigeria. All of them. My ancestors were Igbos from Nigeria, and Igbos are called black Jews, that they're industrious, that they go after things, that they're hardworking people. So all the way back in my DNA, we were self-sufficient. And all of them are sitting here, folks whose name I can't even call. So what we're talking about is culture. Okay, and not racial culture, family culture, where the demonstration of what my father decided what grinding was. You weren't grinding till Daddy said you were grinding.
Gotcha.
Take your hands out your pocket, boy, like you got $1 million in your pocket. They trained us not to be lazy. They talked about lazy like it was a disease.
Rule number 8, make relationships count.
Another point is make relationships count. Making your relationships count, because everything is about relationships. First of all, your relationship with God. That's a very important thing to have, because as long as you know that there's somebody in charge, you don't have to bear the brunt of the responsibility and the weight of what's going on in your life. You can talk to the boss, okay? Number 2, enjoy your relationship with yourself. If you don't like you, it makes it hard for me to like you. Because people, when you walk into their atmosphere, they draw you into the cosmos of their own drama. And if they're full of drama without you, when you come in, you become caught up in the cyclone of their drama. Enjoy your relationship with yourself. And then anybody else who comes in, they enter into a party you already started. You understand? And then the relationship with your kids, the relationship with your spouse, the relationship with your friends, taking time to enjoy the relationships, because there is no fruit. Nature teaches us that there is no fruit without relationships. You cannot be fruitful by yourself in business, in home, in life, in church. I don't care what it is. You are no more than the relationships you surround yourself with, and make sure that those are good ones.
Rule number 9, just start.
How many people did you have in your first congregation?
7. I started with 7.
How many do you have in your congregation today?
Over 30,000.
Over 30,000. And That didn't just happen overnight.
No, it didn't happen overnight. And when in the book I talk about the pressures and the stress, and I founded the church. It's not like a board hired me and I came in, I work a job. I'm not a hired gun. That means I did the painting and the cleaning and the rent negotiating and hiring the staff as we finally got staff. I went through all of that process from the ground up. Yeah. And not only that, what a lot of people know me as a preacher, but they don't know my entertainment company is older than the Potter's House. And I started that company with a little bit of money, started touring around the country doing plays and entertainment, things like that, stumbled into an opportunity to do a movie, stumbled into an opportunity to enter into a contract with Sony Pictures, who is my partner in producing movies that have grossed over $500 million at the box office. What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you finish.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is pull out the weeds.
I had a friend of mine who did a film when I first did my film, and I did my first movie, A Woman Art Loose, and we did it out here. We did it in 400 screens, and it did pretty good. I mean, we met the budget, paid the bills and all that, and bought a few hamburgers, and that was it. And he did his film, and it blew up, and it went crazy. And every time somebody said something about how good it was, I felt funny. I did. I felt funny. And I was driving home.
Funny was the word you felt?
Funny. It was funny to me because I had never felt the feeling before. I just wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. And I was ashamed that I wasn't happy. And I called myself on the carpet and said, what is this? And I had to look myself in the face and said, you're jealous. And I have never, to my knowledge, been jealous about anybody or anything in my life. I was jealous. And I thought, I don't want that in my heart. I don't want that in my heart. So what I did, I sold tickets for it. I put on events for it. I got behind it and pushed it. And all the while they thought I was pushing his movie, what I was doing was pushing jealousy out of my heart. I don't want that in me. I don't want that in me. And that's what I mean about an idea against an idea. You have to fight an ideology with a better idea. The better idea was to help him. And when I started helping him, it immediately left me. When you see something growing up in you, and we all are human, it will happen. And you see it and you don't want it. You don't want it in you. Do the opposite. Do the absolute opposite. Do the thing that is most unlikely for you to do. And when you do that, that idea will come down out of your head, and it never came back again. And I was so happy and I was so proud of myself because though he didn't know that I felt that way, jealousy enslaves its landlord. And so what happens, I end up incarcerated. Everybody else is having a good time, and I'm sitting up here talking about, you know what I'm saying? And then guess what? Then God started blessing mine. You can't curse the light in your neighbor's window and expect the light in your house to still burn. You just can't do it. And what I am saying, Maria, is that we all have the propensity to be evil, to be jealous, to be angry, to be deceitful. So let's not act like there are good people and bad people. They're just people. When you see those weeds growing in your garden, you got to pull them up. And the best way to pull them up is by using the opposite of the idea that you don't want to be a tenant in your heart.
Now I've got a special bonus clip from T.D. Jakes on how to be ready for success that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Time to move from just watching another video to actually taking action in your business or your life. And if you're feeling bold, answer these questions in the comments below. Here we go. Question number 1, what weeds do you need to pull out? Number 2, what does work-life balance look like for you? And number 3, what relationship will you make count this week?
You have to know something about things that you haven't received yet. You got to start reading things you've never read before, going to places you've never gone before, so that when God opens the door, you're not trying to get ready. You got to already be ready.
happiness. One word. This is all you need to be happy.
The most important word ever.
If you had to think of one word that's most important to you or that sums you up or that would be kind of like a little beacon.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.